Jay, were you ever worried about your own job security this season?
You know, what I'm worried about is making sure I do my job. And my main concern right now is doing what's best for this football team, these student athletes. And like I've always done, I'm going to continue to keep my head down and working hard and make the best decisions I possibly can for Auburn athletics and the Auburn family, and particularly for these student athletes.
Jay, saying as quickly as possible, do you have any time frame in mind?
No, we don't have a time frame in mind, Bill. We're going to take the time that's necessary to find a person with those three things we mentioned: a proven track record, somebody that plays by the rules, and someone that will continue to build on the student athlete's success academically.
Yeah, you talked about your time frame when you came to the decision. Was it this morning you decided, or was it something you've been thinking about for a long time, or what?
Well, I've been thinking about it all year. And last night, I visited with Gene, and I told him that I was going to talk to the president this morning. I was going to recommend that he not be retained. And that's what I did. I called Dr. Goose this morning, and we talked, and I made the recommendation, and he accepted it. And then I followed up with Gene, talked to him again this morning, and had a chance to meet with the assistant coaches and a chance to meet with the team. So it's been going on the entire year, the evaluation.
Jay, as I understand it, the assistants have been dismissed as well, is that right?
Well, the assistants have an option. I told the assistants in the meeting today, Philip, that they have the option to stay, and so that's where they are.
Is there an interim in charge?
There's not. There is no interim. Because of the timing of this, 1 week left of school. A lot of our student athletes will be gone after this week. Some have finals the next week. We don't feel it's necessary to have an interim.
Jay, was this decision based solely on performance, or did it have anything to do with the NCAA student?
You know, as our standing policy, we're not going to talk about, confirm or deny anything with the NCAA, but I will tell you this, that I've got the utmost confidence in our NCAA rules of compliance. But basically, it boils down to winning and losing. Winning 3 games is unacceptable. We have high standards here at Auburn, and we're going to keep those high, and that's what it boils down to.
Jay, the $11 million owed to existing staff or former staff, how will that affect the search for the highest caliber replacement?
Thanks, Jeff. It won't impact the search whatsoever. And just so you know, that that's paid out over 4 fiscal years. It's paid out monthly, and it's mitigated. So for Gene, if he never goes to work again, we'd owe him all of that. But fortunately for us, it's mitigated and paid out monthly. And fortunately, because of the Auburn people, their support of Auburn athletics, it won't put us in a negative, in a poor situation moving forward.
Jay, just to be clear, does Gene's firing take effect today, or we wait for the paperwork until December 1st just for the semantics?
No, it's effective today.
Jay, no coach has ever been fired within 2 years of the national championship until today. Whoever the next guy is, what do you tell him about the security that you can have here?
Well, I think that it is an unusual situation, but with the commitment that we have to athletics, particularly football program, 3-9 is just unacceptable. And so in this fierce environment that we're in this league, it's highly competitive, you have to win in order to be able to compete at this level, to be able to stay here and be a coach. I think that we're in a position now, better than we've ever been in, to hire a head coach. Everybody wants to win a national championship and prove you can do it here at Auburn. And the resources and the effort that we put into supporting our football programs at the highest level. So I think that we're going to have the best pool we possibly ever had to hire a head coach. And I think that competing in the SEC, particularly SEC West, people that want to win championships and people that have the personality that we need to have to win championships, those are going to be people coming to the front of the line. So for those that are faint-hearted, they need to get in line.
Do you anticipate that the history that was made here today, of firing a coach within 2 years, will be brought up as you interview candidates?
If it is, we anticipate everything when you interview candidates, but if it is, we'll certainly address it.
Jay, is it important to bring someone in with SEC or at least Southern roots?
That would be nice, but we're going to go out and find the best coach we possibly can.
Jay, what do you attribute, 2 years ago winning a national championship, and this year, what do you attribute to on the team? Was it Gene, or was it the structure? Was it the curfew that everybody's not going to do? What was it that you think you put a finger on, or a couple of them?
Well, Mike, it's awful easy to second guess, and when you go through a season like we did, there's a lot of that going on. But we've made the decision, we're moving forward. And, but I will tell you this, that anytime that, you have a team like we do in the recruiting class that we did have the last couple of years, player development, where are we with that? Why weren't we getting it done? Why didn't the quality of the class translate on the field? And then that's particularly of interest to me with this program, with this team. Why didn't that happen? But overall, discipline is something that always is a foundational thing in any team that you have. So you always look for those things, but the player development is the one thing. But we've made this decision and we're moving forward.
Jay, how much did the way the losses came? I mean, so many lopsided losses. Did that have an impact on it as well?
Not really, Philip. It was just, last year our inability to compete oftentimes, and this year the losses, I began to get concerned. Mississippi State game, 5 turnovers, okay, but after the Arkansas game I became very concerned in our fundamental approach to the game.
Jay, with the possible NCAA investigation out there, are you worried that candidates may shy away from taking on the Auburn job?
Again, I have the utmost confidence in our NCAA rules compliance, and I don't think that anybody's going to shy away from an opportunity to coach at Auburn in the SEC.
You said you want a proven winner. Would you consider someone who does not have previous head coaching experience, and if so, would that be an uphill battle for them?
Well, the first part is we would consider somebody that's not a head coach, that is a proven winner. What was the second part of your question?
But will they fight an uphill battle against the other candidates who do have previous head coaching experience?
It'll just depend on how the pool shakes out, who's in that pool.
There's been a lot of speculation about Trino candidates. What would you say to that?
In fairness to all candidates, potential and otherwise, rumors, we're not going to talk about any candidates, potential or real.
Jay, have you started reaching out to folks?
Have not.
Jay, given the backlash to the buyout the last time around, and now obviously the heavy cost of exercising that option at this time, will you try to avoid candidates who will seek a buyout protection in their contract?
No, we won't avoid candidates that are seeking a buyout if it's the right person for Auburn. And in talking about the buyout, we all have to remember on our side, back when we negotiated Gene's contract after the 2010 year, he's the first coach to win a national championship in 53 years. He was 22-5, and I believe at the time he may have been in the top 15 in buyouts. And this year's buyout, I'm not even sure it's in the top 20. So that's the market in which we're living. So we're going to go out and find the best candidate possible, and whatever's necessary to make it work, we'll make it work.
Jay, is there any changes to your administrative staff, namely Tim Jackson, will he resign at all?
Tim will no longer be a part of the football program.
What's the reason for that?
Hang on, I got it.
What's the reason for why he won't be assigned to the football program?
A lot of what Tim's job has been in Tigers Unlimited facilities, game day operations, and it's time for a change.
Jay, you said that there's no interim coach, but who's in charge of the kids as of today and the days to come?
I'll know better tomorrow. As I mentioned earlier, what I told the assistant coaches is that you have the option to stay here and continue to work. And my sense of it is that some of those guys are going to stay here and keep up with those with our current football players. And same thing I told our football players earlier today as well. Some of those guys will be here, and when we find out exactly who that is, if not all of them, we'll have a structure in place to make sure that these guys are getting everything that they need, because our commitment to our student athletes.
That sort of leads to, I was going to ask sort of the same thing, but as related to recruiting, as far as, who is sort of spearheading the effort with recruits.
Well, it'll depend on our coaches, Bill. If some of those guys stay here and want to continue to contact the recruits. But, anytime you go through a change like this, recruiting is an issue. You're always concerned about it. But when we hire the right coach and get them in here in due time, Auburn is such a great place to come and be a part of, that they'll be able to hit the ground running and get the recruits we need to build on our success from 2010.
You said came down to winning and losing, but when players getting arrested in the off-field troubles, how much of a concern was that for you even before the losing?
Yeah, his question was winning and losing or some other things, and I can't remember exactly what he asked.
Off-field problem.
Yeah, but specifically, the whole thing was my issue. All of that came into play.
Along those lines, Jay, when a respected former player comes out and says he's seen some issues with the accountability and the structure within the program, is that going to be a big focus to improve the structure from top to bottom?
Well, we'll certainly bring in a head coach and let him evaluate what he thinks the structure needs to be, and we'll support him in that.
How did the players react to the news earlier today?
I really don't want to talk too much about my meeting with the players because that's really between us. But I'll tell you this, that they're a class group. One of them came up to me after it was over and said, "Hey, Mr. Jacobs, we're going to all stick together. We love Auburn, and we're all going to be here." So, and they were all lined up down the hallway after it was over, going to shake Gene's hand. So, other than that, I'm not going to say.
How did you come up with the search committee, and how long was it been formed?
How did we come up with the search committee?
Yeah.
Dr. Gouge and I sat and talked about who it should be, who it could be, what will put us in the best position to bring in the best coach for Auburn.
And how long has it been formed?
I talked to all three of them this morning, or sometime today, not necessarily this morning. I've talked to all three of them. But, when a couple of weeks ago, you always have to be proactive and not reactive. I started formulating who would be on it and who would not. And I reached out to a couple of these guys and asked them that if we were to go this direction, would you be a part of it? Because it's always easier to not have a search committee than have one. So if we'd gone a different direction, it's easy to disengage them. It would have been more difficult to get them up and running. So,
Jay, sorry if I missed this before, but who else is going to be part of the committee besides those three?
myself.
So just you four?
Yes, us four, yeah. Matt Crawford, Bo Jackson, Pat Sullivan, and myself will be the
Jay,
committee.
obviously, the other three names on the search committee are people we all know. We'll talk about Matt Crawford.
Sure, sure. Mac was a fullback here, Walter Gilbert Award winner here at Auburn. And I think you all should have his bio possibly.
Yeah.
Do you, JG?
Yeah, how did you get involved in this, at this level?
Yeah. He is a CEO turnaround expert. And we probably need a little turnaround here. And he is very objective, non-emotional guy, business oriented, business sense, business savvy, and is well respected by the Auburn football community. It's really a blessing to have Mac as part of this. We all know Bo and Pat, certainly having Pat as a current head coach is awful helpful when you're sitting talking to potential head coaches. And certainly Bo brings something completely to the table, and Mac does as well.
Jay, what's the,
Come back to you.
What was the conversation with Gene like? I know you guys are close, but how did he take it, and what was he going through? I guess what you guys talked about, if you can share that.
Sure, happy to, Mike. We've been talking for several weeks, and each almost daily. And he's a class guy. He knows the business, and he knows that if you don't win enough, you don't get to stay. So he loves Auburn, and wants to stay here until he gets another job, and wants to help any way he can. Just class and character. Same as always has been.
Would you guys use some search firm help as well, like you have in the past, to help you find them?
From time to time, we always reach out to experts, and we'll do that in this case as well.
President Gouge a week ago outlined the factors that he looks at in terms of what he wants in a good athletic director as far as compliance, game day experience, winning, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about those factors?
Yeah, well, the five goals that we have are winning, rules compliance, as you mentioned, game day experience, graduating our student athletes, and how we do financially. And fortunately for the last 10 years, we've never put money in the bank. As I've said repeatedly, I have the utmost confidence in our NCAA rules compliance. Winning, we've won 22 SEC championships and 12 national championships over the last 8 years. I think 22 puts us in fourth in the league, and I think 12 national championships puts us in top in the league. Graduating our student athletes, we've got 51% of our student athletes with a 3.0 or better. But when you have a bad season, things go bad. Everything gets questioned, as it should be. And we have room for improvement, but we're committed to making those improvements and doing what's necessary to compete at the highest level.
The game day experience part of it, were you concerned when you saw the stands empty out, at halftime in a lot of those SEC games this year?
Well, the stands being empty and the scoreboard, all that concerned me.
This is a pretty big decision. I'm sure you didn't take it lightly. But so how are you hoping a change in coaching staff will improve the football players' performance.
Okay. Well, historically, when there was a change made after the '80 season, 3 years later, won the SEC championship. After a couple bad years in '91 and '92, we went undefeated in '93 with the change in coaches. Both those are changing coaches. After a 2003 year that some say weren't very good, we go undefeated in 2004 with the change, with the same coach. And then in 2008, we won 5 games, and then 2 years later, won a national championship. So history, to some degree, dictates that change can be a catalyst for helping you be more successful. But the overall picture of the things that John mentioned, and the winning, and the off-the-field things, and fundamentals of football, it was a decision that had to be made sooner than later.
Jay, Gene Chizik was your handpicked guy, obviously, 4 years ago. For his tenure, you had to pull the plug on his tenure this early. I mean, how much more difficult does that make it? Well, it's always difficult when you have to fire somebody and all the families it impacts. That's difficult. And but that's the business we're in. Doesn't make it any less easy. I mean, it doesn't make it any easier. It's difficult. But we support our athletic programs at the highest level, and we expect success at the highest level. I'm grateful of what Gene has done. Won 3 bowl games over 4 years, won a national championship. I just regret the way it ended. I guess in 2008, if somebody had said in 4 years you're going to win 3 bowls and a national championship, have 1 bad year, would you have taken it? I think a lot of us Auburn people would have said we'd taken it. I just regret the way it ended with the 3-9 season.
Jay, just to clarify with Tim Jackson, will he still be with the athletic department of the university?
Yes, he'll still be with the athletics department.
Good time for a few more.
The assistant coaches, to go back to that, they can stay if they want until a new head coach is hired?
That's right, Mike.
And the head coach will have a pretty good say in their role as far as the future of this program?
On the current assistant coaches?
The new head coach deciding the current assistant.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's his decision, the new head coach's decision.
Anything else?
Is there a style of play that you prefer? Because you've seen both kind of the smash mouth work around the league, but you've also seen some spread. Is there a certain mentality you want a coach to bring in offensively or defensively?
Not really, John.
Just physical?
Just physical. Statistically speaking, the defensive teams get to the SEC championship. But when you look out there now and you see all the spread offenses, people scoring points, can you find a fine balance of that? But we're gonna find the best coach we possibly can for Auburn.
So you said you want to find that.
Hey, Mike, let me go.
You say you want to find the best coach possible, but how important is it for them to understand the culture here at Auburn because of everything that you guys have talked about over the last couple of years?
I think it's important, but I think they're people that can be fast learners. Who's asking something? Beg your pardon?
How much his buyout will be?
Whose buyout?
Chizik's.
Well, it's spread out over the next 4 years. If he doesn't ever go to work again, I believe it's $7.2 million.
Jay, one more, back to the style. Do you prefer an offensive or defensive-minded coach, or does it matter?
We'll probably talk to both, Bill. Just say who the best coach is for Auburn.